The secret to easily solving questions on the Math SAT is knowing how to solve them using Desmos. We're going to start by solving some equations, but I'm going to show you so many tips that will cover lots of different questions you'll see on the SAT. Now, when you want to solve an equation like this one, all you've got to do is to type it in. So I'm going to do negative 4x. To get squared, I'm going to use the caret key on my 6. So shift caret to get that, and then squared. Let's arrow over so we're on the right level, and then minus 7x. And I'm just going to do equals negative 36. But I want to come up with my solutions. It's showing me the solutions as these intercepts here on the graph. So my solutions there are a negative 4, we're solving for x, and a 2.25. Now negative 4 doesn't show up, so it's got to be that 2.25. If you're not good at converting to fractions, just type it into an empty cell and then click that convert to fraction, and there's your answer of 9/4. Desmos also does a great job of evaluating functions like this one. We're also going to see some systems here next. Let me again clear these x's, and I'm just going to type this function in. So f of x is equal to 5 parentheses 1. To get that fraction, I'm going to hit my slash key, which is right underneath the question mark, fourth. Arrow over to the right, and then I'm going to go minus x. Let's put a parenthesis there, and then squared. First of all, I would love it if you just noticed that you could plug a 1/4 in and this all becomes 0. So if you don't recognize that, Desmos has got your back, but if you do, it's going to save you a lot of time. Put in the 11/4 there, and I want to know what the value is of f of 1/4, and I can just type that in, f of 1/4, and I get my answer there of 2.75. Another one, and this one looks really different, but another place where evaluating functions is really helpful is a question like this. I'm going to again start by putting in my function, so h of x is equal to x squared minus 3. And instead of doing h of 1, h of 2, h of 3, which are the x's, I'm instead going to put a table in. I'm going to click the gear up here for Edit List, and then I'm going to click on this table icon. I want the values for, notice I'm in the x column, 1, enter, 2, enter, 3, enter, and I've got my answers there really quickly. I can see that the answer that I want is B. Now for some systems of equations. Again, clearing what I've got. Let's go ahead and solve this system by typing it in exactly as we see it. So parentheses x minus 2, close my parentheses, minus 4 parentheses y plus 7, close parentheses, is equal to 117. And then I'm going to grab an empty cell for that second equation, and again, typing it in exactly like I see it. I don't see my solution here, so let's go ahead and zoom out. And as I'm zooming out, I start to see my solution over here, and Desmos puts it in gray. So I can see that I've got my x value there at 281.5. If you don't want to lose this, you can do the export point to expression list. So now in an empty cell, I'm going to do 6 parentheses, 281.5 minus 2. And I've got my answer there of 1677. Desmos also does a great job with maxes and mins. This one's looking for a minimum. Let's go ahead and type it in. I've zoomed in that last example, so let's go ahead and click on that house for a default viewpoint. And I can scroll just a little bit here. I'm just clicking, holding, and dragging. And I'm looking for that minimum. Here it is. If I click on it, I've got that value of negative 1.5. So if you're not confident on converting your decimals into fractions, you can type in that negative 1.5 and then click on that convert to fraction key to get your answer of negative 3/2. Next, let's do some statistics. This question asks for the median of the data set. Now I know that that's the middlemost and that data set's not in order, but Desmos does a great job of finding the median for us. So I'm just going to do the median parentheses, and then I'm going to type my values in. So 4, 10, 18, 4, 4, 5, 6, and 5, and my median there is equal to 5. This one has a little more going on. I've got several different number of eggs. That's my original data set. And then in the paragraph down below, it says a 6th nest with 121 eggs is added to create a new data set. Which of the following correctly compares the means of the two data sets? Okay, so I know that I need the mean of this original data set, and I need the mean of that data set with 121 in it. So I'm going to do the very same thing. I'm in an empty cell. I'm going to type mean parenthesis, and then I'm going to do each of my original data values followed by a comma. And I've got my mean there of 143.2. I also want the mean when 121 is in here. I want to keep that, so all I've got to do to duplicate is to click this edit list gear, and I'm going to choose this duplicate key here. So I'm going to duplicate that, and then I can do done. And I want to change the second list to also have, so I'm going to do comma 121. And now I can see that the original data set had a mean that was higher than the second data set. So our answer here is A. Now, if you've been practicing for the SAT, you'll notice that there's a lot of questions that have a constant in it, a B or a C or a K, like this one, where it's asking you for possible values of that constant. Desmos does a great job of this because it uses sliders. This is a system of equations though. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my first equation into that first cell. And then I'm going to click on the next cell and I'm going to type in that second one. So y is equal to x squared using that caret key, arrow over, plus 8x, and then plus a k. And it says, do you want to add a slider for k? I do want to add a slider for k. Remember, we had also zoomed for that last question, so let's click on the house for the default viewpoint. So I want to know where the system has no real solutions. If the system has no solutions, that means that this parabola and the line are not going to cross anywhere. Right now they're crossing in two places. So I'm going to change this value of k, and as I increase k, notice that that parabola moves up, but 10 is not going to be big enough. To change that 10, I'm just going to click on k equals 10 here, and it lets you change the parameters. Let's change that to say like 50 for the upper one, and then we'll do 10 for the lower one. Enter. And now I can continue moving k until I get to a value. So it looks like 13.6. As I read back through the question, it says k is a positive integer. An integer is a number without a decimal. So I want either 13 or I want 14. So I'm just going to click on 13.6. I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to change it for 13. But I can see that 13 has the parabola cross. That's two solutions. It's got to be 14. Let's change that to confirm. And 14 is the smallest integer. Here is another one. Let's clear that out. Here's another one that has a constant p in it. I'm going to start by typing in that first function. So f of x is equal to parentheses 1.84 parentheses, and then use that caret above the 6. And then I want x slash 4. Let's put our cursor into the next line down, and I'm going to type in the second one just as I see it. So f of x is equal to parentheses 1 plus p slash, to get that fraction, 100. I'm going to arrow over, close the parentheses, caret x. And then do you want a slider? Yes. Whenever I'm looking for a value of a constant, I'm going to choose that slider. And it says, which of the following is closest to the value of p? So as I move my slider here, I can see that I am changing that purple function to be closer to my green function. Let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit so you can see that better. But 10, again, is not going to do it. If I click on that number 10, it brings up this inequality, and I'm going to change. I want to start at 10 because that's where I ended, and I want to go to, I don't know, let's say 30 or something. Clicking anywhere else, and I can go ahead and increase this until I get this to be about equal, and that looks really good right there. It's 16.2 for my value of p. It says which one's the closest, so that answer is going to be A, 16. Next are equations and regressions. So in this sample SAT problem, it says for the linear function, the table shows 3 values, and we want to find h of x, which is the equation of the line from this function, minus 13. Which equation defines f of x, the equation of that line using the table, minus 13. Desmos does an amazing job. So I'm going to click on my plus button this time. I want to type this table in. So I want -4, enter -19/5, enter -18/5. And then let's put those y values in of 0, enter 1, enter 2. Notice over on the left, I've got this little regression symbol that showed up in that bar. I'm going to click on that regression symbol and it says, do you want a linear regression? I do want a linear equation here. Take a look at those answers. They're all x to the first power. So I do want a linear regression and it gives me the regression right here. Y equals 5x plus 20. Remember, we wanted that equation minus 13. So I just need to do 20 minus 13 and I end up with 7. So our equation h of x would be 5x plus 7. Now we haven't seen any inequalities and Desmos does a great job with our inequalities. In this example, we've got 2 different inequalities and we are given tables of values and we need to choose which one represents the solution. So I'm going to start the same way that I've started pretty much all of the problems, and that's to type this in. So I'm going to do y is less than x. I need another empty cell here and I'm going to go x is less than 22. Our solutions live in the area where these two overlap. So it's this triangular set down here. Now I want to test solutions. So I am going to grab another empty cell and I'm going to put a table in here and put my values that I see for these answers. So I'm going to go 19, tab 19 goes with 18, tab 20, tab 19. And then 21, tab 20. Now it looks like all 3 of those, I think I lucked out, are in that solution set. Let me zoom in here and I'm just going to click, hold and drag, zoom in again. And we lucked out that first option A is our answer. I would love to know your questions and how you use Desmos on the SAT. You got this.